Hey there, everyone. Welcome to our new series. When Tim and I finished The Last of Us Part 2, we felt like we had plenty to discuss. So we've sat down together on Discord to do just that and invited one of our longtime friends, Gio, to join us. Before we get started, though, I want to apologize in advance for the poor audio quality. I recorded our call instead of combining our different recordings like we normally do for offset. But don't worry. If we decide to continue this series in the future, then we'll record it with the proper setup. Enjoy.
So wait. First of all, before we start, Tim, I didn't even know you were like a big Last of Us fan or anything like that.
You know, because I was like second year of uni, I got like a PlayStation, so I was kind of like getting into like gaming again. So
I see.
yeah. So played the game again on my PS4, and I was like, this is actually way better than I thought. Like the first time I played it, I didn't remember it being that good. But
Oh no, actually, I replayed it before this one came out as well. I hadn't played it for like years, and I was like, dude, this is better than I remember.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of like
I was
you
like,
get back
what
into
the
it. It's
fuck?
like, wow.
Yeah, so each of us played Last of Us Part 2, and I think our overall impression is that Tim said he really loved the direction the story went, right?
Well, I don't know if like I agree with it 100%, but like just in terms of like, you know how they said like we're only gonna make a sequel if we like 100% sure like we have like a great story.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I'm like I believe that they believe that. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, I mean,
But do you believe that like the sequel was necessary?
was it necessary? Well,
As in, like, what I mean, like, what I mean is, like, when you finished the first game, did you want a sequel in the first place?
Did I want to? I mean, I did. At the time when I finished it, I remember telling you that a sequel would be cool where they start exploring the Ellie being, it's like Ellie was doubting Joel in his, whether or not he told the truth to her.
I don't know, dude. I think I like that ending.
No, but at the same time, I think Gio said as well, which I kind of agreed with, was they don't need a sequel. They could end it there, and it was a perfect ending.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like personally, that ending to the first game is like so perfect. It's so fucking perfect. So yeah, I was kind of against the idea, but yeah.
I mean, I do get what you're saying because it's sort of like the whole ending is kind of ambiguous because you don't know whether Ellie like, whether she knows or not. But then they kind of just leave it, and it's like, well, it's sort of like, what do you think? Like, where are they going with this? Like, so just it's left up to you. I think, which is kind of like, which is what I like about it.
Yeah,
obviously, I mean, like some games they just end.
Yeah,
and
I mean, like the ambiguity of the ending was fucking perfect, and like a big part of it was like actually like thinking like how it could play out, like the consequences of everything.
Yeah.
And this game, it kind of dives right into it, like I think literally from the first second, which took me by surprise, by the way.
Yeah, they do kind of from the first second. You still see. Yeah, it starts with Joel telling Tommy what he did, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a flashback. Like they do not a flashback, but like they kind of recap like the ending.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And
I gotta say, I was not expecting to have just to relive that like in the first few moments of the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like they dived right into it. I was like, there was no build. That they were like, fuck it, we're just going right in.
Yeah.
Like, you remember when you killed all these people and did something that like doomed our species? Yeah. That.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
Like you did that, remember? And sort of like, yeah, I don't think I could like 100% forget.
Yeah, sure.
But there it is.
Yeah.
I liked all the flashback scenes where they explore Ellie and Joel's relationship more after Last of Us Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the museum one was the most wholesome one. It was really nice and sweet.
That bit was so good.
Mm-hmm. I just put my hat on every dinosaur I could.
Yeah, of course.
And Joel in the end.
Yeah.
And then it was cool to see them like go a little further forward with the flashbacks where she finds out for herself what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then confronting Joel. They gave what the fans wanted. They wanted them to see like how she would react when she found out what really happened. And that happened. And I think it happened in a pretty realistic way as for how the characters would react, which is kind of cool to see.
I agree. Yeah.
And
to me, that was like one of the good parts of the game. I think like one of the especially good parts of the game is that you have that sort of moment where they tell that kind of story of what happened between the first game and the second game, and it turns out that she suspected, and then she found out. And she was angry at Joel. But then it's sort of like just before this game starts, it's like she decides to try and like mend the relationship.
Yeah.
So when you sort of get to that bit where, Abby kills Joel, you're kind of like, it has extra impact because, she was just like trying to get closer to him again and like trying to forgive him.
Dude,
just before that, it's like...
Dude, like when I started the New Game Plus, one little detail I noticed is that in the beginning, like Ellie and Dina, when they first go out, Ellie's talking about how like she's gonna watch the movie with Joel that day.
Yeah.
And the first time I played, I was like, oh yeah, this is what they do, like because we had no context of what the relationship was before that. So when we get the end scene, it's like, oh shit, no, that was the day they were gonna, start.
Yeah, they were trying to mend the relationship.
Yeah. God, and freaking Abby had to take it away.
Fucking shows up.
Fuck.
But by the way, how spoiled were you guys before going in?
0.
Well,
Zero.
I only knew one spoiler.
What was that?
Joel's death. But I didn't know how he died.
Oh, you know that. Oh, shit.
I didn't know.
You
it was just a photo, though. I didn't know how he died, who killed him, or when it happens, or anything. It was just a picture. So I knew he was going to die, but I didn't expect it to happen so soon.
Yeah. I would do, like, when it happened so soon, like, I literally, I was like, what the hell's going on here? And it was so confusing because there's so many characters there that you have no idea, like, who any of them are.
You don't know who the fuck you play as Abby once, like before all that happens.
Oh, that was so foreboding in a way. Like,
yeah.
As soon as you first played as Abby, I was like, oh, they're doing something weird here. Yeah. I would never expect what they actually did, but yeah.
I think they even like look over Jackson, and Abby and Owen are talking about, oh yeah, the guy we're looking for is probably in there or something. And then
the thing that gets me about like when you replay the first chapter, like for New Game Plus, the thing that got me was because I just literally just replayed it just now.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that gets me about that is like I don't think the first time I fully appreciated how sort of well it's done, because there's that moment where you're just like playing as Abby and you're just like running away from like a horde of infected, like breaking through the walls, and you're just like running through the snow, and it's like, and they're like pressing against the fence trying to like grab you. And it's just like, dude, this is too intense. But I guess it's like The Last of Us, This is still the first chapter.
What difficulties did you guys play on, by the way?
For my first run, I did moderate, but when I plan to do New Game Plus, I want to do it on Survivor.
Okay.
I'm a moderate, and I sort of did like a custom thing now.
Yeah. I played around with that as well, yeah.
Just because it seems kind of like interesting. I know it's like, I think the last game I sort of had that was the last Tomb Raider, I think. They did sort of had like something like that. So I was like, yeah, I'll just tweak it.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to ask your guys' opinion on how what your thought was on Joel's death. Like, was it too soon, or could they have done it better, or you think they did it just right?
Go for it, Tim.
Personal view?
Yeah.
They're like, I have issues with how they structured the game in terms of the story. A few issues with that.
Yeah. Okay.
But in terms of their decision to kill Joel, I think it's sort of, I can kind of see from the creative perspective that it might have been necessary to do that, just to sort of make sure that this game, the story kind of works. Because past a certain point, you have the Joel and Ellie relationship. It sort of begins to limit the game. So
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So you sort of had him like along for the whole journey. It would sort of be like, it would just be the first game over again.
It would be safe. It would be playing it safe.
Exactly. Yeah. So in a way, I'm kind of glad they did it.
Right.
But
yeah,
I think a lot of where the hate is coming from for this game is that people are quite attached to Joel as in terms of the character.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they kind of misjudged that a little bit, just because they're trying to like, oh, Abby killed Joel, then you're playing as Abby, and you get to see how she's not a good person, she's not a bad person, she's just like,
I don't know about that.
Anyone else?
Oh, interesting. Okay.
No, for me, I did not like how they did Joel's death. I didn't have a problem with them killing Joel, but I feel like they could have done it better. First of all, I thought it was a bit too soon because we barely got to see the new person as Joel has become. I know a lot of people had the issue with Joel and Tommy wouldn't be that dumb to just give up their names to these random people. But I just kind of wrote it off as like, it's been like what, 5 years since Last of Us 1, so these people have changed, so I'm sure they're more open. That's why they were so easy to give up their identities. But yeah, I had an issue with how the death was done because I don't know, they never explain, like Abby never explains to Joel what he's dying for, what he's being killed for. So I wanted some sort of exchange between Abby and Joel, where Abby would say like, "You killed my father at the hospital," and then he can be like, "Oh," it was like, "Well, I did it to protect someone I cared about," and then just and ask about how far he's willing to go to protect this girl that he cares so much about. And if he would have just said like, I'm not sorry for what I did, I feel like that would have been such a good send off for Joel. But the fact they didn't touch on any of that or even let him know what he died for, I feel like was just made Abby more unlikable in that way, because she never justified her reasons to him. So for me, it's very hard to empathize with Abby, even a little bit, when we get to her part in the game.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Tim also said, like the whole story structure could have been done better, but overall, I respect.
Like a few places they could have like.
Yeah, but overall,
in terms of like just move the scenes around, because it's kind of like what you said, like. It should be a little sort of clearer, like at least maybe off screen, like whether Joel knows or not. But the point is, I think the point is the kind of idea is that maybe the kind of idea they're trying to get across is that Abby could, at that point in the game, she could be anyone, because like none of the characters in the first game, none of our characters in that kind of sense, they're not good people, they're not bad people, they just exist and they survive in the world and they do morally questionable stuff. So that kind of be like
Yeah, but
that scene is, Joel, Abby could be anyone.
No, I understand
really.
that, but I was waiting for like maybe like when we first start to get to play as Abby, like from day one. I was hoping like before we get to the like after we get the flashback scene with her and her father, and before we start with her to start going hunting with Mel and Manny. I was hoping there would be a scene in the middle where there is a exchange between Joel and Abby, and then that would be the scene where she would justify her reasons of killing him, and then we could have had that scene
But
there.
wait, when could they've done that? We literally saw the only interaction they've had, right?
The only interaction
Like, is
Abby
there
and Joel had were when she killed him in front of Ellie, and just
Yeah,
before that. So
how would Abby justify that to Joel? Because we saw all of that happen. So you wanted
I wanted Joel to say something. I wanted to see Joel
okay.
understand why he's being killed so brutally by this person.
I don't know, man. I would say that I think the idea that Joel doesn't question it is the point, because he's killed so many people.
Yeah, exactly.
That he's like, yeah, I've killed like fathers and mothers of like tons of people. Like, he doesn't want to know. Like, obviously he doesn't realize how serious it is. But I actually love the fact that
I understand. I understand that perspective, but
I'm kind of just like, yeah, Jay was right. Like, the point is, like, Abby could be related to anyone he killed.
No, I understand that, but I wanted him to go out, I wanted him to go out with last words by saying like he did it to protect someone he cared about, and said he would do it again. Like, he's not gonna apologize to her. Like, he would say, "No, fuck you. I love I like this little girl I saved, and I would do it all over again." Like he said in the flashback as well, I would do this all over again.
That's what I'm saying. I think we got that in the flashback.
No, I know, but I wanted him to say it to fucking Abby and just say like, "I don't fucking care what I did to you." It's like, I saved this girl.
I think it's like, it's one of those things where that sort of moment to me was kind of like, well, initially I was kind of like, well, I could use a little bit more context. Like, I think he probably could use a little more context, but after you kind of think about it, it's kind of like, well, actually, to be fair, like, but I guess he doesn't really care at that point, because he's like, as like Gio said, he's been killed a lot of people.
Yeah, but it's not. It's also not much about if Joel whether or not knew what he's dying for. It's also that they keep calling it. Oh, we did justice by killing him. It's like, you can't call it justice if you just brutally torture him without an explanation of why you're doing this to him.
Now there I disagree with you, because to be fair, Abby does think of it as justice, but
so does everyone else.
I think there are points in the game where other people around her, I think it's sort of implied they question whether what Abby did was right.
No, definitely. I definitely got the sense that like her friends were like, no, it's a bit weird, especially my main man Owen, who saw through all the bullshit. He was the guy who was like, Owen, fuck all of you.
I feel like Owen was the only likable one of the group. Mel,
because I see like the group kind of varies. I think because you have like, I think there's characters like Manny who kind of like, they kind of get where Abby's at.
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
No, fuck Manny.
But then there's like, on the other side, like there's Mel on the other hand, who she's like, you're a fucking asshole. Like, you're a piece of shit. Like, why would you do that? I think that's.
I found it really hard to get invested in Abby's friends, to be honest. Like, I like the ideas they represented, but I felt they were kind of like, they didn't feel like main characters,
Yeah, that's true.
What felt weird was, Mel, right? The medic who's pregnant.
The pregnant one.
Yeah. She's a medic, right? A doctor. So the weird part is she's supposed to be she's supposed to be the innocent one of the group, I feel like. And the one who's supposed to. Well, kind of. She's always like looking out for people, like she's like, oh, we gotta treat this guy or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I just remember she, for some reason, felt like she wanted the death of Joel to be more personal than it was, because I remember she said to Abby, when Abby asked her, "Is like, was like, "What? Did you have a problem with what we did with Joel?" Something along the.
Yeah,
and she
I
said,
remember that. Yeah.
And she said, "No." I was like, "No. I just wish it went further." I was like, "What?" It's like, what? You're okay.
Yeah, but like, so you didn't like Abby at all then, Tarun?
I didn't like her at all. I mean, I understand her point, her perspective, but I didn't like her.
So as Ellie, were you into the whole revenge mission before it cut to Abby? Like, you really wanted to kill her?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, like for me, like I felt like the whole revenge thing was so weak. Like the whole game, I was waiting. I was like, the story has to get better. Like, I don't know, man. I wasn't feeling like Ellie's story that much, like story wise, not like character wise. But and then when we started playing as Abby, I was like, dude, fuck this. But honestly, my favorite bits were like in the second half. But maybe that's because of the gameplay, because the best environments and set pieces were there. But yeah.
I don't know. I like. I wanted to take revenge on Abby for what she did, mostly because of how she killed Joel. Because I think someone else.
Really?
Yeah, it's like if she had done some actual justice in killing him, then I would be more inclined to maybe like her, empathize with her a little bit. But the fact she took it so far, like torturing him.
Yeah, but hasn't Joel and even Ellie, like Ellie killed a pregnant woman, or like Joel did way worse in like the first game.
Yeah,
it's
but
all about like people are like go for it.
No. I mean, I was kind of like just saying, because when I was playing as Ellie, like initially I was kind of like, yeah, let's go get her, and then they're kind of like, it gets to a point where it's kind of like, well, okay, now I'm not okay with this because I'm like, okay. There are like moments where I'm kind of like, okay, no, like I'm personally like I'm not okay with you, like you're going like way over the line here, like.
I mean, yeah, that I felt the same when it got to the Nora part. Like when it came to killing Nora, she took it a bit.
That bit was so good. That bit was so fucking.
It was really cool, but you could tell like, okay, Ellie's taking this way too far. Like this is.
And I love a little detail. I love is like how like just before Abby shows up at the theater, like Ellie, Tommy, and their like Dina and Jesse, they're all about to go back. Like it got to the point. I mean, obviously, Ellie still wanted to kill Abby, but they were on their way back to Jackson. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I think I really like that idea because, like, really early on, I was like, dude, just go home. Like, it's not like just fucking go home, and especially at the end when fucking Tommy came. I don't know how Tommy's alive, by the way. I thought he died like 4 times in the game.
I feel like he should have died. Like not that he should have died, just like that gunshot would have killed anyone. How the fuck does he survive?
Yeah. But like at the end when Ellie goes out again to kill Abby, I was like, are you like I was so exhausted. I was like, everything felt so pointless and so just like over the top. Yeah, it is. That's what I'm saying. So when that ending hit, like to me, the ending was perfect. Like before the ending, I was like very mixed on the game. To me, like that ending, like it's, like some endings are like break or make the game for you. To me, the ending was like it resonated with my emotions and how I was feeling so perfectly. And the last flashback with Joel and Ellie and her not being able to play the guitar, the song that pretty much connects the whole thing. I thought it was great.
Yeah, fuck it.
Because that moment at the end where she can't play the guitar, you just sort of like, I just felt that you had the realization that like playing the guitar was like one of the last things that connects her to Joel.
Yeah,
and it's like for a moment she can't even do that, and it's like this like search for Abby has like taken everything away from her. Like she doesn't even have that anymore. Yeah. Because those scenes at the farm.
Yeah.
Where she's like, where Tommy shows up and he's like, you're a fucking coward. Why don't you go and get her? Like, then Dina shouts at him. Those scenes are like, whoa. Because it's like, because when she goes, you're kind of like, oh god, no, please don't. Just like, stay. You have a happy life. You have a family.
Just
stay.
fucking.
And then she goes, and you're like, fuck.
I don't know. I feel like just letting Abby go like that felt a little weird. Uh, I don't know. They needed. I just felt like they needed to have some sort
Payoff.
of.
You didn't have a payoff, right?
No, I feel like I would have kind of accepted her letting her live if they had some sort of talk. You know, like they understand a bit of each other. But
Wait, who and who?
Ellie and Abby.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I was thinking like, oh, when you know how Abby got captured by these cannibal people. I don't know who these guys are. I forget.
Those people were so forced in like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was such a weird plot point, but yeah, it happened.
It was like, oh look, another fucking faction that eats people and kills people and tortures people. Holy shit! Wow.
Yeah, it's like David's group from Last of Us 1, except they don't keep infected. I don't think.
I don't know if you guys watched. I don't know if you guys watched Breaking Bad, but in the last season they literally introduced this whole card like out of nowhere. It felt just like that.
Yes, it did exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, since that happened, and then Ellie gets jumped by the same people. I was thinking, oh, okay, maybe they'll be captured together, and then they can find a way to break out together, which I thought would be kind of a really interesting thing they could do with the story. But they didn't do that, and I was like, all right, we'll see how this plays out. And then
I mean, like, I'm still conflicted with whether she should have killed Abby or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved like when you release. Also, a really cool touch was like towards the end at some point. There's a moment where she's just walking through and she just goes, Abby, 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 like over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys remember that bit.
Yeah.
But it was like really good. And you get there, and then when she releases Abby, Abby's just like, oh, the boats are this way. Like Abby doesn't even pretty much react, you know? And that's exactly how I felt. I'm like, yes, like exactly, just like. And then I love that. I love the whole ending, but yeah, maybe she should have killed her. I don't know.
I'm just saying because
it would have gone against the whole idea, but
the game made it kind of tough to empathize with Abby. Like if you listen to the little dialogues they talk, you know, when you're playing as Abby. I don't know if you remember when you first go out on a mission with Mel and Manny, they're talking about the scars. And
which one's Manny?
The guy who looks like Druckmann.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. The funny guy.
Yeah. First of all, that guy was cocky as fuck. I did not like that guy.
Yeah. He kept talking about how many chicks he banged.
Yeah, right? Like I'm like, dude, fucking shut up. I don't fucking care. But yeah, no, if you listen to the dialogues they talked about how the war started between the Scars and Wolves. And then I remember it was Abby or Manny who were saying that, yeah, they like kids from the Scars, like they kind of came into their territory and they thought like those kids were going to attack them. So the Wolves, I think, which included Abby and Manny, like they shot the kids down. They killed kids. And they're completely okay with it. They say it's justifiable. They came into our territory after this treaty we had. And since then, this whole war started. So
yeah, they're horrible people. I don't see how that's a surprise. I don't think the game was trying to make us necessarily like feel like they're not bad people at all.
No, I know, but it just kind of confirms also Abby is a child killer. She tortured Joel to death. She's so on board with every ideology of the Wolves and everything. Of course, up until a point. I mean, but still, it's like you have all these things. It's hard.
The point you making you play as Abby is you have obviously like as you're playing as Ellie, she's your enemy. But the idea there is to get you to see that she's not just some like faceless bad guy. And they went really, really far trying to make you see.
They pretty much made a whole game about it.
Yeah, exactly. You know? So it's kind of like here, like the second half of the game is basically that. So it's like
it's hard to empathize even a little bit with a child killer. Okay.
I don't know that you thought that right.
I don't know. I don't think they necessarily meant like them, like Abby, Mel, and Manny, like shot the kids. I think they were saying like the wolves, like us, you know, which doesn't make it necessarily better, but like
no, but Abby was in complete agreement of of the action that took place. Mel was the only one who was a bit like questioning it, like that was a bit wrong and too far. While the other two were like, nah, it makes complete sense. They came to our territory, we killed them. Like, what do you expect us to do?
I bet the only reason Mel felt like that was because she was pregnant. She was like, no, fuck that.
Maybe, but
Fuck that shit.
I don't know.
But yeah, I see what you mean.
It just felt hard to even empathize with her a little bit, especially after hearing the kids thing. I was like, what the fuck? And I don't get why Manny was such an asshole. He cut in front of line, and Abby just goes along with it. I was like, fucking Abby cutting in front of lines with Manny. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's like, how do you expect me to be okay with you even a little bit?
You hate Abby because she cuts in front of lines.
Yes. Let that be on the record.
With other people, it's like, oh yeah, she killed one of my favorite characters. You know, like fuck her. And Taryn's like, oh no, she cuts in line. Fuck that. She deserves to die.
Yeah. Well, Manny prompted it, but she went along with it. Fucking hell. No, but I don't know. It just felt like the game was making it really hard for you to empathize with her after all this horrible shit she's done. Not just with Joel, but like all this other stuff that you hear in exposition. It's just
and like at the end, one thing that felt really weird was that at the end, I think when the huge war breaks out between the two factions, and there's a point where as Abby, you have to kill wolves, and that felt really weird.
That felt
I was like,
weird.
what?
It was like Abby.
I tried to do it without killing anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I know you could, but it's really hard to. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it just felt weird to kill the wolves because, like,
it didn't make sense.
Yeah, like you were like so close to these guys, like everyone knew who you were. Weirdly, everyone knew who you were, even though you made a point. There's so many people in here we don't know each other.
Can we just talk about the fact that they low-key like hired Jeffrey Wright to do a voice and he's just like in there?
Oh, they just kill him off.
Wait, that was the leader, right?
Yeah, Isaac.
Jeffrey Wright.
What was his name?
Jeffrey Wright.
That's what was the characters?
Isaac.
Isaac. Yeah.
It's just like no, but that section though, that like the visuals were amazing. It's like
which one?
The visuals.
You know when you're on the cult side.
Yeah, that was really cool. Actually, my favorite bit of the game, like for sure, was when you're climbing up the high towers as Abby, and then you're going down.
Oh yeah, the skyscraper. That was very cool.
That whole hotel area as well, when you have to fight the stalkers coming out of the walls.
That hotel was so annoying because there's so many stalkers stuck to the walls.
And like there's a bloater and everything. And I played this game on Survivor, and that bit was pretty much like it was impossible. Like I had to go into the options and like give myself more resources because it's fucking impossible.
I'm gonna try and do the fully on Survivor.
Dude, the AI is insane.
The moderate difficulty felt so like it felt like it was
everybody
so
says that.
Forgiving. It was very forgiving. Because I had way too much resources. I was stocked up on everything. And I still found a bunch of things where like, oh, you're full. And that got really annoying. I was like, what the hell?
I think I saw your full like once in the entire game.
Oh, that's great. But yeah, it got annoying because like, okay, I'm like too stocked up on everything and I'm barely using it. So that's why I think Survivor would be kind of more fun to do. Yeah, but moderate was just too forgiving. I didn't really find it much of a challenge. Although I did get through the whole game without killing a single dog. Except the one the game forces you to.
Okay, we need to talk about this. Why do people have a fucking problem with killing dogs in this game? That I completely don't get.
Because dogs are fucking awesome.
I mean, yeah, but it's sort of like... I mean, here's the thing, like, I love animals. And I don't have a dog, but I love dogs, and I love cats and all that kind of stuff. All those kind of pets. Yeah, but, like, I don't really see, like, the issue with killing them in game, because it's not, like, like super friendly partner dogs, you know what I mean?
They are,
it's like they're trying to kill you.
Well, so not when you're Abby. They're like the most friendliest dogs in the game when you're Abby.
Okay, listen. I don't know, man. Like, I've had two dogs my entire life, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've only lived with dogs.
Yeah.
I have no problem killing dogs. Like, it's in danger. They're coming after me. I will slit their, like, I don't want to.
Dude,
like,
I remember one ran after me and I hit it, and it just whimpered like a really sad and crying dog.
Oh
like,
yeah, their
fuck.
cries are fucking.
Yeah, and I was like, "Fuck this! I'm restarting." I restarted the checkpoint, and I got through the whole thing without killing a dog.
I think I'm more with Gio in this one, to be honest. Because, like, sure, dogs are great, but, like, if it's coming for your throat, then...
Nah, fuck you guys.
Just... And also, I loved... I mean,
okay.
it's kind of a cheap way to, like, for them to try to make us empathize with Abby is by making her be, like, really good with dogs and shit, but, you know.
I didn't really...
You know what I found really silly? You know that thing where you kill human enemies and they, like, their friends call out their names?
That did get annoying a bit after a while.
Like, I see what they're trying to do. It's kind of like, I don't care.
I don't know. I thought like there were a few moments where it was really stupid because I killed like 5 Jorges in like one room.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there were moments like to me the gameplay is what's good about, like, carries the game. Because this game, I fucking love the combat so much. Yeah. And there were really intense moments, like really intense moments where everything worked and them calling their names was good, but I think they did it too often.
They did it way too often.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, oh no, James is dead. Oh my god, who the fuck is James?
It's like, Zach, no!
So I don't really care, to be honest. Like, my objective is that way.
Yeah.
It's like, Zach, no. And then you see like the same face NPC somewhere else, and then now his name is James all of a sudden. It's like, what? Are there like quadruplets or some shit? What the fuck? But, you know, speaking of things that happen way too often, like every time you enter an area, there's something attacking you from the side.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
Like, there's a lot of moments in the game where you're crawling through like walls or whatever it is.
That got really, really overplayed. I feel like they do that too much, even in like Uncharted as well. Like, they love doing that, walking through a really tight space or crawling through a really tight space, and then just as you come out, a cutscene starts, and usually the cutscene starts by somebody knocking you on the head with something.
You know, it's like somebody knocking you on the head, grabbing your feet, or
just like straight up trying to tackle you.
Or the floor just breaks and you like fall through the floor or something.
I have another thing that got really boring in this game, and like one of my biggest problems. Way too much use of like notes. And okay, as like a side thing, okay, but it really pissed me off when the main story progressed by like Ellie finding a note, and it's like, okay, fucking Nora's going to the hospital. She's like, we have to go to the hospital. It's like, this note could have been written like 6 weeks ago. And it just felt really, really artificial. Like, I don't know. I wasn't feeling that whole progression.
Yeah, I did find annoying, like, you know, the gate codes at the Seattle day 1. I did find it annoying. I had to keep going back to the freaking note to remember what the code was for the gate, and it got really annoying. And like, just like,
I wish they did more moments like that. Actually, I completely forgot about that area. When it like opened up, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just find, like, I feel like it should have made it easier to access the note at least. Like, I don't mind the note, but to have to go through the bag, and then there's that whole animation. It takes way too long. It's like, oh my god.
There should definitely be like a quick tap or something to just like open the latest note you had or something.
Like, maybe just for that area, they could have done what they did with the map. You know, when you hold down the touchpad to bring out the map.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have just done that for that area, but with the codes. I feel like that would have worked.
Yeah. What would you say, like, your favorite bits were?
Favorite bits, huh?
Island sequence.
What's that?
Skyscraper.
Skyscraper.
The island. The whole sequence on the island, just because that's like the skyscraper thing.
Skyscraper was cool.
Yeah.
What was my favorite part?
Even if it's just a moment, like just like a cutscene or something.
I think.
Take on me.
Take
Love
on
that.
me.
What's
Take
that?
it.
What do you mean?
When she sings "Take
When-
on Me" to Dina.
On the guitar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the guitar. What
Uh,
was it? I feel like there are a few. There's a when you're playing as Abby and you're rescued by Rhea and Yara and Lev, and then you're running through the woods.
Yeah. Oh, that bit. Oh shit. Yeah, yeah.
That bit
cool.
was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And there was another part. I think the first time you come across the scars with Ellie.
When they shoot you with a bow.
When she gets hit by the bow, and it's like, oh fuck, and you're like, shit's getting real. And
they're all like whistling for some reason. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah. And there's another. What was it? Right. I think I really liked the area. Was it a mall? You know, with the boats. You have to go get a boat. Where Jesse leaves you when you say, I'm going to the aquarium. Maybe we'll meet. I'll get Tommy there. And Jesse was like, no, I'm just going to go somewhere else to find Tommy. And Jesse leaves. And they're fighting these people in this mall to go get to the boat.
Yeah, and like you can like dive underwater in the combat.
Yeah,
stuff,
I really liked that area. Yeah, that was really cool.
Me too. That was really cool, yeah.
But yeah, I think those are what I can think of from the top of my head. What about you?
I would say, for me, it's probably the ending. To be honest, I guess, like the last 20, like the last half an hour. But I would say, gameplay wise, the museum was my favorite bit. Like even though it was like literally.
Oh yes, of course, the museum.
But that bit was so good. But like, I think one thing I wanted to say was that I feel like that's what people wanted was the museum bit, but like the whole game, you know?
Yeah.
Which is what I wanted as well, to be fair. But I like that it was like one moment of like normal Joel and Ellie, you know?
Yeah, which reminds me too. I really thought they'll go through the whole game with Dina and Ellie, together. Which I feel like they kind of should have done. Because what worked with Last of Us Part 1 was that you had Joel and Ellie throughout the whole thing and you really bond with their relationship. I feel like I would have kind of appreciated Dina and Ellie's relationship if they had been together throughout the whole game. And also, we would have probably gotten more... Like, the difference... Like, major difference that really shows that this game is much darker than the first game is that we have less of those wholesome light moments in the throughout the story.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Last of Us Part 1 had so many great ones. I think one of my favorite ones when Ellie just kind of tells you bad jokes from her joke book.
Oh, yeah,
that was really nice. And then the giraffe was probably the best one from that, arguably the best moment from that. So things like that, there's quite a few in the first one, which made it really like emotional in some ways. In this, you had less of that. It was mostly just focused on revenge, which I feel like at some points it gets kind of old. But obviously the gameplay is engaging enough that it distracts you a bit from it.
The thing is that basically I like what I did in my review of the game was I sort of said like the kind of thing that gets me about this game as a whole is that I do get the impression that Naughty Dog, they kind of believe their own hype a little bit. Because everyone loves the first game, like absolutely loves it, says it's great. And I can kind of see like maybe when they were developing this game, when they were writing this game, there was sort of the attitude at the office was kind of like, everything we write is going to be amazing, like by default. And I kind of get the feeling they just got carried away by that a little bit. Because, I think they needed someone to say, wait, okay, this is actually work like in the way you guys think it works, or you just like, believe in your own hype, which I kind of think happened.
I think so, definitely. I get a very I feel like this game feels like too confident,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, which like I love the fact that they when they sat down to, I don't know when they wrote this game, but I think they purposely try to do something that wasn't the first one. You know, I think they decided pretty early on. They're like, we're not gonna have Joel and Ellie whole game. We're not gonna have like two characters on a road trip. Like even the story structure is so like messed up in here. You know,
Yeah.
like, in the first one it was like just 1 year, just like seasons, like very linear, very simple.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it for that. I like the idea, but I do believe that they believed in their own hype a bit too much for sure.
Yeah, because I kind of get like what they should have done is that they should have kept like the attitude making the first game, which is kind of like, you know, we're just gonna leave it a bit subtle. We're gonna just do our thing. You know, it's simple, and we're just gonna let it speak for itself. We're not going to try and like, you know, just push this on you. You know, it's good because like, you know, we let it speak for itself. This is kind of like, look, we're amazing.
I also think like. Also, I feel like the biggest fuck up for this game was the marketing. First of all, I hate the fact that they just lied about Joel in the trailers. That's bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Like I like the fact Joel died, but they deserve hate for that. I think definitely deserve hate for that. And I also think that they kept talking about like the whole marketing was like it's about revenge and how far you would go. I honestly didn't feel like revenge was like even like one of the main themes or like ideas of the game.
Really?
Yeah, like as I said, like the whole revenge thing. Ellie's like, you can't escape this. Like I'm gonna kill all of them. I was like, this is really. I don't know. I felt it was so dumb, but I was still invested in it. But because of Ellie, but I feel like I think they should have showed Abby a bit more in the trailers as well, for sure. Just like not necessarily that we play like a whole game with her, but we didn't even know she was a character pretty much. And she's like the main character of the game, and they didn't show her in the trailers, which I find a bit weird.
Yeah, we got her in the first trailer where most people sort of assumed, oh, that's probably Ellie's mom.
Second trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that theory?
But that was like 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah, second trailer.
They gave no context for that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that was weird.
I know, like, when I was watching that, I didn't even know it was the last of the clicker came out. Not gonna lie. It's just like, oh, this could be anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like,
I guess when you think about it, the fact that they made one of their they Last of Us only had like only a few trailers, but the fact that they made one of their trailers with like only with new characters, as like the audience, we should have assumed like, oh, these guys are probably gonna be really big, like important characters, you know?
Yeah.
I guess, but I think, they wanted to subvert expectations by, oh, we're going to keep it a secret. People are going to think this. Oh, we're going to do this. But that's them believing in their own hype a bit too much, you know? But in a way, I also think they underestimated how much, like, people loved Joel. I think they did not expect.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, I mean, when you look at it and what they're trying to do, I'm kind of like, okay, maybe we shouldn't love Joel that much because, well, you know, he does some pretty bad shit, and like that whole thing about taking Ellie back, I understand why, but you know, well, like, yeah, it's just maybe we shouldn't, you know, love him so much.
Also, first, like, I think Joel's like probably the best, in my opinion, the best written or the most interesting written character that I can think of in a video game, you know. And I think this game did it like complete justice for sure. Like even the like seeing him all pathetic and like an old man and being really awkward, I love that. But also, you know, when you said that there's no way they would have believed like Abby or like giving their names to the group, I also felt that. But then when you think about it at the end, the fact that like Ellie and him had that conversation the night before, I can see why Joel would be in a good mood, you know. And I think like he lived his whole life. The reason he's still alive and he's such a badass is because he never like let his guard down, right?
Yeah.
He never trusted anyone. And I love the fact that the one time, like literally the one time, he's like, yeah, you know, like, what's up, guys? My name is Joel.
Yeah, that's.
He pays for it.
Yeah.
I like, to me that was really, really dark and twisted. And I love the fact that we didn't get a send off. I love the fact that they just killed him off straight away.
I don't know. I feel like it would have been really badass.
It's kind of in line with the games as you think about it. It's just like, oh,
sorry?
here. it's quite in line with like how the games have been so far, I think, because it's like totally like they're not trying to give him like like a hero set.
Oh yeah.
That's like
Yeah,
in,
like so many
positioned.
people die in this game. Like
Exactly.
like 1 second, boom, they're.
Yeah, fucking Jesse just poof, he's dead.
I really didn't like Jesse, to be honest. Like I couldn't.
I
give a shit about Jesse.
I felt like all the new side characters were pretty weak as characters.
They were like, I feel like they weren't bad, but they weren't like great. They were like I don't mind. And I think ultimately it got like they all did their job. Like they added to the story in a way where it made it better, but I wouldn't say they were like great or amazing.
Yeah, exactly. But you see, because if compared to the first game, we had side characters like Tommy. Like obviously he's still in this, but we had him. We had Mary. We had Tess. And the most notable one was Bill, and the most notable one was Henry and Sam. Like when you have side characters like that,
I'm with you for Henry and Sam, but I'm not with you on Tess. Sorry.
Come on, Tess was pretty great.
But
the thing is, she had history with Joel, and you can tell like they bounce off each other pretty well. There's a connection, a chemistry.
I thought like
in this, it
like
just
the
wasn't
one,
there.
Like all the characters, like all the side characters, in my opinion, were like perfect.
Yes.
Like none of them were too big, but like each character at that specific moments, like when they show up in the story, like the parallels, like why they show up and how it plays out Joel and Ellie, I think were so good. This game can't even touch like the side characters of the first game.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
the side characters of the first game, I felt like each one served a purpose in the story. Like they all gave this huge takeaway for Joel and Ellie to take from them. Like especially the Henry and Sam one, which is I think the big main example anyone would go for. With this, I don't know, they felt so really weak. Jesse just felt like a way too much of a good guy. Like it's too goody two shoes. Like, oh, my friend's problems are my problems. I'm like, okay, you already said this. Yeah. You said this like 5 times, Jesse. God damn it!
I hate
get it.
Yeah. Also, I find it a bit weird, like Dina just coming along with Ellie when she knows she's pregnant. It's like, that was why not? Like, what? Like, oh my god!
It's like I would have just taken Jesse then if you're pregnant. Like,
or just going yourself. Like, I'm okay with
I think that's my biggest problem when this game is like the motivations people had and like some of the character like decisions to do certain things. I was like, what? Even like when Jesse and Ellie got separated with a boat, right? You remember that? I was like,
yeah,
really? Like, really? You guys are gonna split off now for like the stupid reasons? Like, not like I don't know. It felt very forced. Like in the first game, it's like get Ellie to the Fireflies. You get there. Oh, they're not like they got killed off. Then it's like, oh, Tommy's a Firefly. We have to get a car to get to Tommy. Go to Billstown. Like everything felt natural, And this one, I did not feel like.
Yeah, Jesse just shows up. Like what?
I kind of miss like the structure of the first game a little bit. Like I can kind of see why they didn't go with that. Like I kind of miss it because it's just like more like it's a bit more like a stage. You kind of understand like how it like progresses from. This is kind of like okay, well, it's.
No, what's really annoying about Dina saying she's pregnant is like, okay, even with the time we did spend together, there wasn't much connection made anyway, and then after that you're going all alone anyway, so it just didn't feel like there was much point of her coming in the first place.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I agree with that for sure. Like I really like the I mean I don't think she was amazing, but I like Dina and Ellie's interaction, especially after you kill that chick in the hospital with a crowbar.
Oh yeah.
The scene after that was so good with like when she was like shooken up.
Oh yeah. Her hands shaking and everything.
By the way, am I the only one who thought that this game ended like 3 times? And it just kept going?
No.
And also,
I
Also-
thought
Okay, I thought it
Also,
ended
like-
twice. I didn't know about 3 times. But...
And like when you first play the farm bit, because you know, like you think that
I thought that was the ending.
I thought that was a dream. I thought like this looks too good. Like this does not fit in
Right.
this world. Like she got everything she wanted. They all came out like okay. Well, I mean, the fact that he was alive was a miracle.
Yeah.
And then they do this thing where they make you put the sheep back in the barn. Remember
Oh
that?
my god. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she mentions that she's like, when she's counting the sheep, she's like, oh, it's putting me to sleep. And I thought that was like telling us that, oh, this is like a dream because, you know, counting sheep, you know, they're trying to be all poetic and shit. And then you sit on the tractor and then like the camera zooms out and I'm like, are they going to fucking end it like this?
And it just
And then
stays
just
on the
kept-
tractor for
and
too
then-
long.
And then they're just like, oh no, we're going to introduce a new cannibal faction. And then you're going to play as Abby again. And
Yeah.
it just kept going like 4 more hours.
Yeah, I thought they would end it after the Abby thing then. Like, oh, she finds the fireflies, and then they'll end it there. And then no, it went further on after that when she got captured. And it cuts back to Ellie and you know, wanting to go look for her again.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay. It did feel weird that we thought the game was gonna end and they didn't end, and then
Yeah. I think they
part of it is
wanted-
like hoping it to end. Like, please let this be it. Please don't go after her again.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I'm saying. Like when she decided to leave, I was like, dude, come on.
I was kind of at that point where I was kind of like, oh boy. When she left, I was kind of like, I'm not gonna like what's happening next. I just
exactly.
like know it. I'm like, oh,
I mean, I wasn't really against Ellie leaving to go look for Abby because obviously Ellie is going through some shit. She has all that PTSD.
I get why she goes. I'm like, okay, well, she can't let this go. Okay, I understand that.
No.
Like,
She's so obsessed. She's so obsessed with the whole idea. Like
No, but
she can only see like one point in her life, and I see it. Why? But
no, because
I also think.
Yeah, you also think.
No, I also think that when she doesn't kill her at the end, I like the idea that it flashes back to Joel on the porch instead of the usual flashback that we get of his fucked up face after Abby smashed it in.
Oh my god! Yeah.
And of course, we get the context for that scene afterwards. But I think she realizes as well. She's like, "This is pointless." Because when you think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The story starts with Abby getting her revenge, right? Like Abby's story starts where Ellie's would end, right? Because Abby wanted revenge on Joel, because Joel killed her father figure, and then Abby killed Ellie's father figure. So they're making like obvious parallels.
Right.
And the game showed us that it's all pointless. Like getting revenge means nothing. It's just gonna cause more suffering. It's gonna come back and haunt you. So I think that's what they were going for with her not killing Abby at the end. I don't know if it worked or not, but I'm starting to realize that now. You know?
I mean, yeah, there's an obvious theme of a cycle of revenge. Like, if you're gonna kill Abby, then maybe Lev will be coming for her next. But I don't know. It made sense for her to go and look for Abby as a character because she's going through PTSD. She hasn't gotten any closure about Abby. She hated the fact that she had to leave Abby alone when they were first deciding to go back to Jackson, from the theater.
what do we think? What do we think about that whole little section in the theater where you're playing as Abby and Abby is chasing you?
I hated that. I hated that so much.
It was so bizarre. Like it was like I was tripping. It was so bizarre. I don't even know how I feel about it.
I hated that so much. I did not want to fight Ellie. I just did not want to fight Ellie.
I died like on purpose the first time.
Me
I played it,
too.
for sure.
I died many times just to see how she dies every single time.
But
and called
I
it
love
that's
that
the
fact.
ending.
I think the idea was brilliant. Like, first of all, can I just say something? This is something that people have been shitting me on. In my opinion, Tarun, you're gonna hate what I'm gonna say. You're gonna fucking hate me for this.
Okay.
They should have made us kill Joel as Abby. I think.
Oof.
They missed
Controversial
an
opinion.
opportunity.
No,
Like,
dude, I feel
imagine
like
how much-
people would throw the
imagine
game
how-
away.
I think they actually didn't do it because they were scared for that. But imagine how much more like on the revenge I would want Ellie to be like. I would be more on Ellie's side, you know. Like you would feel the impact so much more.
I feel like there would just be more hate on Druckmann for making the players go.
I
through
do.
that.
I do kind of see where Gio's coming from, because that would have been like next level.
It's like it's a
That would
fucking
just, like,
video game. They obviously want us like the whole idea is like there's no good or bad guys. Like just because you had a whole game about these characters doesn't make them special.
I
Now you're
think
playing as Abby. You have no player agency. Because the best part of in my opinion, of the first game is when you have to kill the doctor at the end. I think there should have been more moments like that. I mean, there were, but if they did it with Joel as Abby, or maybe they shouldn't have done it the first time, like when you're like in the beginning. But then when you start playing as Abby, and then you see that cutscene through from her side, they should have made you do it, and the hate would have been less because you already know that Joel's gonna die in that scene. I think they missed a chance with that.
I think I get where you're coming from, which is kind of play Abby, probably play more of Abby first, and go through her arc of finding Joel, and then. But you as a player don't know they're looking for Joel. You just know they're looking for whoever killed her father. And then I feel like the reveal should have been once you see Joel, and then that's when it clicks. Like, oh, this is the guy they're looking for, and then you're like,
I think
oh,
it would
fuck.
have been too obvious. I think it would have been too obvious. Even when like they first overlooked Jackson, and she was like, he must be there. I was like, oh, they're looking for Joel. I mean, who else would they be talking about? Obviously, it's someone.
But at this point, we don't know. Like the way they would have structured it, or at least how I'm thinking is like we wouldn't know that Joel is in Jackson.
I don't think they could have sustained it. No.
Maybe not,
but you would piece it together like really quickly. I think
probably
because it just be like, oh yeah, because if Abby's talk about like, oh yeah, we're going after the guy who killed everyone, and kind of like, well, there's only one guy that could really be.
No, but. The only context we would have is like this guy killed her father, because that's all what she really cared about. She didn't really care about everyone else dying. Of course, that's.
But, there's just like tons of like little details of like she'd be just like it would just like be given away too quickly. I think it'd just be like something would like click. You know what I mean? It'd be like, oh yeah. Cool.
Maybe it's all a matter how they decide to structure it, because.
Yeah, I don't think they could have, because it'd just be like. Oh yeah, we're going after like the guy who killed all our friends, and we're like, no, given context of the game, it's probably Joel. Joel, yeah. It's like, yeah, there's like only one person it could be like in the whole story. Joel.
I think I saw someone made a post of like how kind of like an alternate ending where I think Tommy and Joel walk into the room with other people, and Tommy's like, oh yeah, my name's what was it? Oh yeah, my name's James, and that's my brother over there, Frank.
and then roll credits.
And then they would have been like, "Oh, have you guys seen Joel anywhere?" And I'm like, "Oh no, credits." But no, I kind of get why people would be pissed off. How they just gave away their identities. But I also said earlier. But I also said earlier, it's been 5 years. These people have changed. I'm pretty sure they're more open.
Also, they give hints that they bring people in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure like since Tommy's like the big man of the whole community, him and Joel bring people in. So like not often, but like throughout. But it does feel weird.
They offered them. They offered them to at least restock. Like, oh, you can come over. You can stay with us if you're surviving, or at least come and restock.
Like in terms of rewriting the story, there was like one bit where I think they could have done something really interesting, which is
that
it's sort of like that bit where you're first playing as Abby and they're looking at Jackson from the hill. She's with Owen, and she's kind of like, how are we going to get to him? He's like trapped in there. Like, would it not have made sense then, like for a more interesting story, for Abby to like and the group to go to Jackson and reveal that Joel has done this crap? He's like doomed the world. And it's like, how would the community react then? Because she's like, I want justice. And it's like, how do they react? Would that not have been better than like tying someone up?
I think though Abby doesn't really. I mean, obviously she wants to say that Joel, like doomed the whole world, and that's like the big justice thing. But I think she doesn't really give a fuck. I think she's just so like. That's the reason she didn't even tell Joel like, "Oh, I'm the daughter of the doctor you killed." She doesn't really give a fuck. Like she doesn't think about that. She's just driven like my life's goal is this guy dead. That's it. Like very simplistically, you know.
I don't know. Yeah, sure. I just thought it might have been like interesting if she like, because then it's like, well, maybe she gets them that way instead of like.
What if like they actually recruited them? Like they actually went back to Jackson. Yeah, actually no, that would have been cool. But we would have known it's Joel. Yeah, it would have been too obvious that it's Joel, I think. Because even the first thought that I had when Joel died was like, this must be like something to do with the hunters from the first game, because they make a big deal about how Joel was a hunter and they did horrible things, and even they hint that they killed kids or did some horrible shit. So I'm like, this must be like something to do with that. Mm-hmm. And also when they revealed that it was like the whole doctor thing, the first time I watched that cutscene, like when they revealed the hospital and the zebra and everything, I think that was the moment I hated the game the most. Like the first time I played it, because it felt so stupid to be like, oh, it's the daughter of the doctor. Especially that the whole, like my favorite part, as I said, is when you kill the doctor. I feel like they just beat you over the head with it in this game. Like they made the whole game about that, and it lost the magic of the first game. I really do feel like that.
But does anyone doesn't he have any idea how old Abby is? Because she looked young as fuck in that flashback, but Owen looks like a freaking fully grown adult.
I think they're in their early 20s.
Really? Because I thought she was 15 in that scene.
Wait, what? Wait, which scene are you talking about?
The flashback with the doctor.
Oh,
with Abby.
In the flashback, she's like 16, 15 or something like that.
How old is Owen?
I think Owen is much older than Abby. Even
but
they're adults.
But they're dating in that time.
Tarun is 2020, man. Come on. People date fucking their own pets nowadays.
You're not gonna date an underage girl, regardless of where you're.
Oh, you're talking about the flashback still?
Yes.
No, they weren't. They weren't dating in the flashback.
They were. They were.
No, they weren't.
Yes, they were. No, they.
It's kind of like
they.
I thought it was any kind of hint to that because it was like
it was not. It was
Abby's dad saying like. I remember Abby's dad saying like, "Oh yeah, I see you and Owen like together a lot."
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
And then Abby replies with, "How long have you known?"
I thought that's like, how long have you known I got a crush on him? Not like.
And then right after the whole Firefly is dead thing, and then you see them on the Ferris wheel. They're clearly dating. It's like, "Oh, I love you, Abby." Wow. They are clearly dating. There is no implication at all.
I mean, on the Ferris wheel for sure, but I'll be very honest. Like, I don't remember Abby's flash. Like, I don't even remember Owen in the first flashback. Like, what he does or what his role is. He does he even show up?
Yeah, he holds the zebra with the dad.
Oh, that was him.
Yeah.
I know. I
See, he looks old as fuck, and they're supposed to be dating.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait, what's the age gap in this? Is she like, what, 20? Like, if she's like 18, 19, okay. But she looks 15 or 16. So I'm like, what the fuck?
And also her dad looked really young as well. Am I the only one that thought that? Like,
his dad?
Like,
yeah, her
dad. Their relationship was a bit weird. You know?
Yeah, there was very... I don't know. He was very...
that whole flashback scene was really, really... And then, like, Marlene shows up, and that felt really weird. Because she looked much older in this game. Even though it's, like, the same time. Yeah,
she looks way older, which is weird.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't get why they did that, but... I don't know. I like that the conversation is kind of weird. Actually, no, probably not. Because remember how they were talking about Ellie's situation and how they have to do a brain surgery on her, and that would mean her death. I don't know why the doctor.
That's something I like about this game, actually. That's something I like about this game.
But
there's a whole moment where she goes to the hospital to see what Joel did for herself, because she's kind of like, I don't know if what you're telling me is true.
No, I get
There's
that.
a kind of flashback where she's like, if you'd let me die, my life would have meant something, and now I'm stuck, like surviving like everybody else, and like my life means nothing. And she's like pissed off at him for that. I kind of like that.
I found the doctor really weird as well, because if you've read the notes if you read the notes from the first game in the hospital, I think it was in the university. I don't know, but if you've looked at the notes or listened to the notes, you hear about the doctor doing all these surgeries, all these brain surgeries on several number of patients. But they're trying to take the infection out of the brain, and it doesn't work. And he's killed so many people by doing so. So I don't get.
I don't like that. I don't like how this game tried to be like.
He's a completely good guy. He's flawless.
He's gonna save the world, and he was definitely gonna. First of all, even if they make a vaccine, like I don't even see how it's gonna. I mean, obviously it's gonna be a big deal, but it doesn't mean saving the world. So I don't like how this game really pushed that that story part of like Joel doomed the world. I didn't like it went that way. Mm-hmm. That felt really off to me. I didn't like the whole doctor thing at all.
I didn't like the doctor. He just felt weird. Like, after all the shit you hear about him or like what he's done from the first game, it's like it just doesn't fit.
Are you sure it's the same doctor? Because I honestly don't remember those.
Well, he was supposedly the only doctor who knew how to do surgery. Because I think they say imply in this game is that was the last guy who was capable of even doing such a kind of surgery like this. So he probably had practice with those other infected patients that we keep hearing about in the notes of the first game.
Yeah.
So it's a little weird to see him as this guy who values life so much. He saves a zebra, which kind of is supposed to prove, look at how good this guy is, which felt really forced. It was so blatantly forced. But it felt so weird, and I just didn't buy him as a character. Like, I can't believe this is what he's like. Like, he could be a little flawed. Like, why does he have to be so? He's like Jesse again. It's just too goody two shoes.
I mean, you can say he's really. I mean, I see what you mean, and I agree. But at the same time, he's gonna kill a kid. Like, I don't think he was completely flawless, but they try to make the whole zebra thing I really didn't like. But the conversation that Joel and Ellie had afterwards, it was so sad. Mm-hmm. Like when Joel reveals the truth, and he can't even he's looking at the ground the whole time.
Yeah.
And the facial animations were insane.
Yeah.
Also, the idea that she's you took the meaning of my life away. That makes sense as to why she would try to forgive him now, because now she has all friends. She has a meaning again in this community. It changed her,
Yeah.
So it makes sense why she would be you know what? She loves Joel obviously, so she's fuck it, let's do it.
Yes, I'd like to try. That last words, but I'd like to try, and then he dies the next day. How great!
I mean, I will say,
crying like a little bitch.
I will say that overall, I did like the game. So
yeah,
I liked it. It's just I disagree with.
Obviously, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but it's still a really good game.
Okay. Between this and the first game, which one do you prefer?
It's different.
Well, I don't care. It's different.
Can you repeat what you said?
Between this game and the first game, which one do you prefer?
Which one do I prefer? I mean, no, the first game. I mean, the first game is maybe my favorite game of all time. Mm-hmm. And as I said, I was so against them making a sequel. I was still so hyped.
Yeah.
I think this game is genius. overall, I think in time it will be remembered. Like, I think time will serve this game well. I think when like the remaster of Last of Us 2 comes out on like PS6 or something, people
I have
will be like, holy
to
shit.
I have to do a remastered collection. That would be nice.
Yeah. And like the best way to put it is like the first game was like a very simple story told like in the masterfully like like completely genius. I think this is like a really, really, really ambitious game, really ambitious story, told in an extremely flawed way. You know,
I agree, like 100%. Because like what I see,
like to me, the ending, like if the ending was not what it was, I could have been really down on this game, to be honest. Because throughout playing it, I was mostly negative. Like even the scenes I appreciate now, they were like. I was just not resonating with the game as much as I wanted to. But at the end, when I finished it, and especially like after digesting it throughout the past days, I thought it was great. I love what they tried to do.
Yeah.
I really agree with you there, because I know like this game is getting a lot of hate, but I see like the people behind it. They wanted to try something that was really, really ambitious. They had like really, really like strong ideas, and I'm kind of like, I can kind of respect you for trying that. And it's like it's a mainstream game. Like imagine how like if they just made The Last of Us 1 again, like Joel and Ellie or similar stuff, people would have loved it. It would have been much easier, but they did it like they were like, no, fuck it, we're gonna like try this shit, and I think it mostly works. And also I think the fact that so much people are, I mean obviously there's like haters who hate the game just because they killed Joel and nothing else, but like the discussions that are happening on this game are actually very interesting, and I think the fact that it is happening kind of means that this game succeeded, you know? Exactly.
Yeah, it did.
Because it's sort of like you can say whatever you like, you can criticize it, but the fact that people are like talking about it, the fact that it's so like contentious and divisive, that shows you like, because I think what I found is like after I finished the game, it really stuck to me. Like on
exactly,
kind of like emotional level, it just really like sticks to you. And I was like you. I was like, for like 3 or 4 days after it, I was still like thinking about it. And it's like a lot of games I just play and like I just like forget about them the second the credits roll.
I don't know.
Like that.
See,
this isn't like that. It's like wow.
I definitely prefer the first game over this game because. I just love the story more with the first, and every single character I think is way stronger than any one character in this game, in Last of Us 2. But in Last of Us 1, every character is so worth it, like everyone you come across. And as well, the ending is so strong for Last of Us 1. I remember
the best.
Yeah, Gio and I talked about it for nearly months about that ending.
Oh. It's such a genius. Like when I replayed it now as well, I was like, "Holy shit, this fucking holds up."
Yeah, it holds up, and it does such a great job.
It's insane how well it holds.
Yeah,
but
it's like it's great. Like you really don't see that level of storytelling in video games, and I wish there were more, because I don't want to wait for like The Last of Us 3 to get another that feeling again. You know, I wish it was more common.
Yeah, you mean the storytelling?
Yeah.
I think a game in recent time that kind of got a bit close to the kind of storytelling Last of Us does.
Are you gonna say God of War?
Yes.
I knew you were. Yeah, God of War definitely did. I think it did like easily.
It did it amazingly. Especially the ending was great twist as well, but. Obviously nothing like Last of Us, where it's just like, tell me the fucking truth, Joel.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
and the way it's made, like the pauses and the fact that you play the last like 10 seconds as Ellie, and you see Joel as like an NPC, like this old guy, just like, oh, we're gonna go fishing tomorrow and shit like that. It was really, really well done.
Yeah, and because you're so focused on Ellie, you get to see like how she feels about what's going on, like. From that moment, you can see like she doesn't know what to do with her life anymore, because like she had this mission all along. I'm gonna go to the Fireflies. I'm gonna get this cure made for them, and everything.
Dude, when she said When she said one moment I laughed at was at one moment in this game when she asked Joel, she was like, "Okay, I understand that there was no cure and they couldn't make a vaccine, but why didn't you just wait for me to wake up? I had so many questions for them." I was like, "Holy shit, yeah, I know."
That's actually true.
You should ask that. That should be the first question you ask. And Joel's like, "Oh,
It's like,
we were
wait.
in a hurry. I don't know."
It's like, why did I wake up still in the hospital?
What I love about this game is like the facial animation is so good. You kind of see on his face for a moment. He's just like, "Whoa, shit."
Yeah,
I didn't think of this.
definitely. Joe's like, "I thought I went over everything."
No, what does he say? Like, let's not stir this up now. Let's move on, or some shit like that. It's
he
like,
tries to change the subject a little bit.
Yeah, very quickly.
also, like the last flashback that they have with Joel on the porch and everything, like that moment was so good to me. Like I was so invested and really like affected by it. The fact that was the ending, I think overall it left like a good taste in my mouth.
That moment was good because it's kind of like, you know, she's kind of like, it's really realistic, I think.
Really
it's
realistic,
sort of like, because it's like, you know, she hates what he did, but she wants to like, she loves him still. She wants to like give him a chance still. She wants to forgive him.
When Ellie said like,
yeah, I'll try to forgive you, and it's like, and you just realize that was like the night before he died.
Yeah. but in a way that's bittersweet because I feel like Ellie saying like I'd like to try to forgive you, and Joel being like, if I could do it again, I'd do the same thing. There's pretty much them telling each other like I love you, right?
Yeah.
But I think the fact that Joel died the next day is really depressing, but at the same time it's kind of happy. Like at least he got that, you know, like him dying knows that at least Ellie forgave him, or at least tried, and I think that gives it a really bittersweet context to the whole thing.
Yeah, he kind of did everything he promised her as well. Like, I'm going to teach you guitar. I'm going to teach you how to swim.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else. I'm going to tell you dad jokes.
One thing he didn't teach her though, which I loved by the way, was when Ellie goes into the hospital with Mel and Owen, and she tries to like interrogate them with a map like Joel and Tommy do.
And
she just can't do it.
She can't.
And she's just so out of her league, and she's like barely holding the map, and like she's like dropping the pistol and like tripping over herself.
It made me really miss Joel though, because I was like, oh, Joel was there, he would have fucked these people up, but fucking Ellie fucked it all up.
Also, it's genius how they killed Joel off in the first hour, but the whole game is still about Joel. You know, like you feel his presence like throughout the entire game.
Yeah,
yeah, he's still there.
And when you explore his house after his death, definitely one of my favorite moments.
Dude, that hit me. That was like, whoa!
I had no idea Joel was such a great sculptor with wood.
Because there's that moment where she's with Dina and she's about to go in the house, and she's about to reach for the doorknob, and her hand kind of shakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it's like she just like takes a moment, it's like, you know, because she's not like totally okay with actually going in the house, and she's like, no, I'll do it. And also, that's just like walking around, it's like, whoa.
And like that's the amazing thing about video games, man. Like the fact that you can just explore that house, and you really feel like Joel's essence in there. Like that's his character. Like that's exactly what his house would be like. But we never seen it before. But we still feel like at home at Joel's house. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was playing that moment just now, and I was kind of like just going through the house, and I was kind of like, I was actually like thinking. I found myself thinking like, you know, about the character. It's like, this is where he lived. This is where he slept. This is where he cooked, and you know, he's never going to be here again. He's never going to come back to this place. No. And it's just like, oh man, like
yeah.
There's a moment where you go up to the bedroom and you just see like he has the picture. The next to it is like a picture of him and Ellie, and it's kind of like, oh damn.
And then when Ellie like smells his jacket,
exactly, yeah,
which is the jacket from the first game. It was heartbreaking. But yeah, I think I think a lot of people are pissed how they portray Joel in this game, but I think it was
kind of realistic that he would change as a person.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like I hated a lot of the even when he revealed the truth to Ellie about the fireflies, like I felt bad. I was like, oh, this is like, I feel sorry for him. But like, you're supposed to, it's very realistic. Exactly.
It's like, you know why. It's like, because you were playing as him, and it's like, yeah.
Oh, I picked up every note I could find as well in Last of Us 2. And I was kind of bummed that we didn't get anything as great as the notes from Ish in Last of Us 1. Because, that was so good.
Dude, the notes got really boring. Like, they were good. Like, they were good ones. And I read, like, every one I found. But how many times do I have to walk into a room that's like a kid's room? And then you read a note, and it's like, my parents died. I'm so sad. I'm going to lock myself. And then you see his dead body. It's like, okay.
There were some really repetitive ones.
There was like an interesting moment. There was like, I think it's like Seattle. It's either day 2 or day 3. Mm-hmm. And there's a moment, I think there's like, so basically there's like a secret area you can, like, obviously it's got like salvage in it and stuff. You can go.
Yeah.
And there's like a workbench. And you can go up to the workbench, so you kind of like use it, but it actually, you get interrupted. Like people come in.
Oh,
yeah. I think a lot of us, I think it happened to a lot of us.
I think it was scripted. It must have been scripted.
It was definitely scripted for sure.
I was like, whoa, okay, they because like normally you assume it's nothing's around, and then you just like,
it even kind of pays off the point Ellie says when you're looting everything. It's like, wow, this place is really stocked up. Well, now you know why. People are staying there.
I did like how they did the safes, because it's like, you have to actually do stuff to like open them. And it's like, there's clues around. It's like, oh yeah, it's like the date combinations, like my birthday. You have to go look at it to find out. They were
like a fun little distraction, Like they didn't overstay their welcome. I feel like, but I wish they had more stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they came up with, like, the rope was cool. I wish they found more interesting ways to
the rope
get around the environment.
Yeah.
Rather than just
like
going in
somewhere that the other developers like admire the rope physics in this game or something, because apparently it's like super sophisticated.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I remember the from Uncharted 4, the wrench that you get from the Jeep. They made a big deal about the physics for that, so I'm sure they worked. I'm sure they had like a whole department. The whole department just working on the rope physics.
I think they just improved it from that. It was pretty cool. Also, like the grappling hook you get as well is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I think there were definitely notes, like the side story notes, that were really repetitive, which is, it became boring at a point where I just didn't feel the excitement to grab another note again. Really
also boring. Why are people writing notes everywhere? Like,
it's too many. It's
weird.
It's way too many.
And I love the trading cards. I love the trading cards, and I love her journal as well, a lot. But the notes, like, I think they should have come up with a better.
Honestly, every time she opened the journal, all I could think about was Uncharted. It's so obvious. Uncharted.
But like when she first opened it up, I was like, oh, Uncharted, and I was like, holy shit, it makes so much sense in this game as well, And I love the fact the lyrics, like, because she's writing her lyrics, they get so much, like, as the game goes on, they get so much more depressing.
Oh yeah.
Like if you read the lyrics in the beginning of the game, it's like rainbows, butterflies, unicorns, ice cream. But at the end of the game, it's like
blood in my mouth is curdled like iron.
Blood in my mouth. Yeah.
Some shit.
I just remember reading that. I was thinking the lyrics like, well, okay, this got dark really fast.
Yeah.
It's like close the book. Like, okay, we don't need to.
Also, I didn't notice this, but some people said online that she forgets how to draw Joel as the game goes on. Like, it's getting harder and harder for her to remember his face. I didn't notice this, but I'm gonna pay attention to that next time I
really.
I'm gonna keep looking out for that. Let's see.
Wait, what's the hint for that though? Is it like she?
No, because in her journal, there's a couple of drawings she does of Joel, and then she like blacks out the eyes.
Oh no, I did notice that actually. I did look at it in the journal. Oh, but that didn't click in my head at all though. God damn.
Yeah. If that's true, I don't know how true that is, but that would be a really cool detail. Another really depressing one.
I mean, she does have a fucked up image of Joel in her head, which really sucks. Like when the PTSD hits, and the first thing you see is Joel's. Oh my god!
You know that bit in the barn where she just has like that PTSD attack. I love that. I was like,
wow, Tim, you just love groveling in
I mean,
people's
not
PT.
like I love it happen to her. I hate it happen to her, but I kind of like the way they showed it. You know what I mean? Because it just comes, get up and like people have PTSD attacks. It's like no, but then it comes back and she's like the baby's crying and she's just like sit on the floor like just trying to breathe and Dina's trying to bring her. I was like,
Now kind of when she was trying to play the guitar at the end.
Oh yeah, how did you feel about that?
I mean, it was a little sad, but honestly, all I was thinking was like, I mean, she could just restring it to play it with the other hand, right? Like she can practice with the other hand until she gets better with it.
What? Oh, really? Shit.
I mean, that was my thought. I don't know if they're doing it. I mean, like, obviously, you and I play guitar. Sometimes we do need the other two fingers for plucking. But I feel like you can get good enough that you wouldn't need it.
No. But that's what's so good about it is that when she first picks up the guitar and she sits down and you start strumming, the first few chords are like good. Like
because
doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah.
Because she's not using, and then there's one bit where she has to use like
the other two fingers.
The two fingers, and that's when it like kind of goes out of tune and it's
that's when I was like, what if she just learned to play it the other way around? Like, would that fix
it? She does have a lot of time now on her hands.
Exactly. It's not like she has anything else going on in her life at the moment.
She literally has nothing else going on for her.
That's why I was a little sad she left the guitar behind and everything else she owned. But I feel like that was supposed to be kind of like a symbolism of like, she's leaving Joel behind. Like she's moving on from that.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this.
Go for it.
Because... I played... This game actually makes me think of, Telltale's The Walking Dead. Yeah. Like, I played through all of that, like, even the final season. And obviously, it's really good, those games. If you guys haven't tried them, you should try them, because they're really good. But, like, at the end of season 4, it's like, I don't want to spoil it for you guys again.
I mean, I already know how it ends. If he doesn't care, then you can spoil it.
I don't. I've seen Let's Plays of it. It's fine.
All right, because I'm kind of like, because at the ending, at least the ending I got, it comes across as being everything's perfect, everything's happy. And I'm kind of glad they didn't do that here, because like as much as I appreciate everybody getting happy, characters live, they live happily ever after. Yay. They didn't do that here. I'm kind of glad they didn't.
It would have not fit in with the game at all.
Exactly, yeah.
And the whole game I was thinking, like, how are they going to end this game? Like, is she going to kill? And I didn't know. Usually when you watch a movie or you play a game, you have a general prediction of what way the ending is going.
Yeah.
With this game, I had no idea. Like, I was like, I have no... Like, any like, Joel could come back as a fucking, I don't know, as a woman, and it
honestly I was like, even though Joel died, I was looking, hoping that Joel would come back just because of the trailer. The freaking trailer misled me. I was like, fucking hell, dude.
Do you know what I thought? Because when Joel died that early, I was like, but what about the trailer?
And then and when Jesse first showed up, I was like, so this is where Joel would show up, according to the trailer. But like, no, it's freaking Jesse.
I thought they were gonna do the stupid thing where Ellie was gonna start seeing visions of Joel. I'm so happy they didn't do that. Yeah. I'm so happy they didn't do that. But that's where my mind went. It's like, wait, in the trailer, Joel shows up. And when Jesse showed up, I was like, it's fucking stupid. I hate it. Also, the first time Jesse shows up, there's a combat encounter, and I had no ammo. I was stuck there for like 2 hours. I finally get through with like nothing left. The next scene is me and Jesse in a car with infinite ammo.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, what the fuck?
That happened to me.
That felt so shit.
It felt so weird.
Yeah. They need to find a better way to like contextualize those set pieces. Like if they just put ammo in the car, like when you get into the car, she's like, "Oh look, there's a bag of ammo."
Yeah, because the car is the wolves' car. It's not like it's your car.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe it. Like I can make up like around it, but would it have been that hard to just be like, okay, here's some ammo before you go into
Yeah,
this
like
action?
all that happened was like Ellie go like, "Ah shit, I'm out," and it just is like, "Oh look, there's some here in the compartment."
Exactly, yeah. Let's give our final thoughts, and then let's do what people do nowadays, and let's give it a score out of 10. Everyone.
Okay. Okay, so I'll go first. Overall, I thought it's a good game. It has amazing gameplay, incredible gameplay, weak side characters, questionable story structure. I disagree with some of it, but I do respect Jockman for going the direction he did.
Gameplay is very impressive. They've obviously polished it. They've upgraded it since the first game. So I really like that. Story is very ambitious. Characters are great. Bold storytelling choices. A few which don't really land properly, but I can see the intention. Yeah, but otherwise, it's a really good sequel. And I can kind of see that often what people don't do is they make the sequels for the money. I don't think that's why they did.
No,
That's
yeah,
the sense.
yeah.
So, really good game. I think people would like it more as they have more time to think about it.
I think that's a very good point. I think you cannot say like they made this sequel. Like you said something like Naughty Dog actually believed this story was necessary, and I truly believe that. It doesn't work in a lot of moments, but it's a weird game because I feel like as time goes on, people will appreciate it much, much more. I think a huge letdown for a lot of people was the expectations. And a lot of it is on Naughty Dog. I understand they wanted to surprise us and be like, oh, look how ballsy we are. But if they just marketed this game a bit better and they released the exact same game as they did, people's reactions to it would have been much, much better. I believe. But overall, it's weird because as I was playing it, I was really negative on it. But as more time goes on, the more I realize how much I actually like it. You know, and the more you think about it, the more you kind of understand the more subtle details of it, which adds so much. You know. But I completely see why this game is divisive. Which I kind of like.
I think Troy Baker did say it was gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, no, like they were saying it lots, like always. But honestly, I thought it was gonna be divisive because of the whole gay romance and stuff like that, which I thought would be obviously because people are stupid. I didn't think they meant divisive, like oh, you're gonna play as the as a completely new character. But now I see why they meant it, and I think they did expect for it to be divisive. I think they believed that as well, but I definitely didn't think they believed the amount of hate they would get, which obviously was because of the spoilers as well. But I would say, yeah, the gameplay was phenomenal. I did not expect it to be this good. Like third-person shooter-wise, is probably my favorite ever. The intensity, like every combat scenario was like a Uncharted set piece, and like every time I saw like a new animation, like I had to improvise so much, crawling under the beds, and some guy comes in like pulls me out. Like moments like that were just like I love this so much, and the sound effects and everything like that. Like gameplay wise and production wise, I think it's perfect. But yeah, I think the pacing and the way the story was told was a bit messy. The appreciation I have for it outweighs, I think, the stuff that I didn't like. You know?
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I hope they release. I hope they release some sort of story DLC for this. I really do.
I think a lot of people.
One, apparently. I was reading.
Well, I don't know because they never said anything about Left Behind before that came out.
Yeah. Also, do you guys know this? Some guy, I read this in a YouTube comment. You know when you beat the game and like a new main menu screen shows up?
Yeah, I was talking to Tarun about this.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's like what it implies is
that Abby and Lev made it to the wherever they were going, to the Fireflies.
Yeah.
Which is I like that.
Which is really cool.
I didn't catch that, but I think you probably have to like know the whole geography of.
Yeah, you probably have to understand. So that's what this place looks like. Okay.
I just thought it was the place where you fought Abby, like because there's also a round building.
Yeah. So, yeah. Me too. I had no idea. But yeah, that's really cool. Thanks for listening. We plan to release more of these as the months roll by and new interesting stuff comes out. These probably won't be released that regularly, but rest assured that when we come across something that we think is worth the time, then we'll do an episode. Until next time.